gorgeous beings of the internet. My name is Pratik and welcome to BBC Top Gear India. You know what you've clicked on, but allow me to start off this video by asking you a very simple question. How many good mid-size sedans are available in India? The Honda City, the Ciaz, the Slavia, the Verna, and maybe some more. Now also, let me ask you another question. How many good mid-size SUVs are available in India? Maybe even Hrithik Roshan would run out of fingers counting them, won't they? Now, we have something with us today, introduced by Volkswagen, called the Volkswagen Virtus. This one is a worthy addition and a competition not just to the mid-size sedans, but also the mid-size SUVs. Let's learn why. Under the India 2.0 strategy, Volkswagen and Skoda built 4 cars in total, and the Virtus is the last of its batch. Skoda Slavia garnered the most sales number in its family of cars, and now it's Volkswagen's turn with the Virtus. After all, more sedans make roads look better. The Virtus is undoubtedly a beautiful long sedan, and no matter what angle you choose to look at this beauty on wheels, the Virtus looks stunning. All LED head and tail lamps and overall a modern Polo inspired fascia make the Virtus look familiarly Volkswagen. The GT version has some added visual cues like red painted brake calipers, a boot lip spoiler, dual tone finishes and GT badges all around. Only the front wheels get disc brakes, but the overall brake feedback and bite are above average in its segment. A clever trick is that the ORVM turn indicators have see-through panels for in-car passengers to notice. The long stance, subtle chrome elements, sharp-cut lines flowing across the length of this car, a fascia like the International Polo GT and dual-tone alloys make the Virtus an attention magnet on roads. What's surprising is that the Virtus is loaded with 6 airbags, 8 speakers, all LED lights and a bundle of over 40 safety features as standard. There are manual seat adjustments for the driver and front co-passengers, but top variants get 2-step ventilated front seats. Creature comforts on the top variants include all digital consoles with red or blue animations based on the versions you choose. The center console is a large 10-inch infotainment system with wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. There's wireless charger, 12V socket, Type-C ports, electric sunroof, auto climate control, cruise control and manual dimming rear view mirror. Let's start off with the rear seats of the Volkswagen Virtus. This is where most of the passengers in this car would be sitting. Now what you can find here is that there's so much amount of legroom thanks to this MQB A0 iron platform. And there's an ample amount of headroom as well. Now 3 people can also sit pretty neatly in here. There's also added creature comforts with AC vents and 2 USB Type-C ports. You also get an armrest with cup holders right here, and everybody gets adjustable headrests. Sitting inside the Volkswagen Virtus GT, now what you can find out here is there's body colored panels everywhere. There's also this entire dash that has the body colored elements right up here. Now we're not quite sure if the other colors are going to get this particular treatment. Now we have the red car in here, so we can see red body color panels. We're not quite sure if the other variants, the other color variants that is, would come with same body colored panels or different thing. What you get in the GT version is red ambient lighting and body colored panels. Apart from it, almost everything is similar to the interiors of the normal Virtus. When you start off this car, you're welcomed with a nice GT animation on this large touch infotainment system. Everything in here is also piano gloss black. There's also a hazard light right up here. The steering wheel is absolutely similar to that of the Tiguan and most other Volkswagen things. We are currently driving the GT version of the Virtus, and one thing you should note is that this one gets a 1.5 litre 4-cylinder engine with active cylinder technology. What that would do is it would cut down 2 cylinders when the engine is not under load, and thereby give you higher fuel efficiency than the 1 litre TSI. Now, fuel efficiency totally depends upon the way you drive, but then this technology does help. Seating position for the Virtus is a bit of a mixed bag, because here you'll feel like you're seated in a mid-size SUV and a sedan at both at the same time. It's not quite up high as the mid-size SUV, but it's not very low as most sedans are. The 7-speed dual clutch gearbox, the DSG gearbox, is absolutely amazing. Now what it does is, usually in the drive mode, it would try and tend to go on the higher gears itself to give you more fuel efficiency. Now there's also a sport mode to enjoy the car in automatic at your will. But if you really want to enjoy this car at its maximum, there's also paddle shifters given right here, and there's no requirement to put it into a manual mode or something. You can just toggle this and manual mode turns on automatic. The Virtus steers confidently. The steering is precise, it points and goes wherever it wants to. And you know, the best thing about it is that in cities, it's so light that women and even newer drivers would find it much easier to maneuver this car everywhere around. Now on the highway, and as the speeds build up, this steering weighs up slightly, and if you put it in sports mode, it weighs up even more. Talking about high speed, this car is a brilliant performer at high speeds. It just sticks to the road. There's innate amount of confidence inside this car, especially when you're driving at super high speeds. It does not even feel like you're going at high speeds, to be honest. Now the Virtus sits a bit above other sedans when it comes to the ground clearance, but that's not noticeable when you're taking turns or when you're pushing this car around corners, because there's a slight amount of body roll but not too much. What really surprises is the way this car just eats up every undulation on the road. We deliberately put this car through various road conditions and it just handled it like a SUV. Even in the Virtus GT, there is quite amount of turbo lag when you initially start this car, but once it picks up speed and once it gets into its goldie spot, it's absolutely amazing. Push the throttle and this car will respond maybe a second later. So if you're in the normal driving mode, this car tends to sort of switch gears and go and sit in the highest gear possible to give you better fuel efficiency. And when you sort of push this throttle around, it will take some amount of time to understand that you really want to overtake. But in the sports mode, it holds on to those gears right up till the red line. So driving in the manual mode, we just understood that the third gear can stretch all the way up to 118. But the fourth gear is so long, it can stretch all the way up to 170 kilometers an hour. Now the NVH levels in this car are not the best, but they're not the worst either. In fact, for its segment, it's absolutely amazing. There's quite a little amount of road noise that just creeps in, but apart from it, the only tune that you would really be enjoying is this 1.5 liter engine, and the way it revs, it is eargasms. Now let's go ahead and check out the 1 liter TSI engine and how does that drive. Now we're driving the 1 liter TSI Virtus, and this one is a 3-cylinder engine. Now for a 3-cylinder engine, this is very smooth. In fact, it does not feel like it's a 3-cylinder engine, feels much more refined than that. The non-GT version of the Virtus is offered in a 1 liter TSI with 6-speed manual or 6-speed torque converter. Now this gearbox here that we are driving today is the automatic 6-speed torque converter, and it's quite smooth, not as smooth as the DSG, but then that's understandable. Everything else is almost similar to the GT version of the Virtus. What really stands out in the non-GT version of the Virtus is this interior. In fact, it looks and matches most of the other elements inside this cabin. Now unlike the GT version of the Virtus, this one, it does not allow you to stay in manual gear for longer unless you have your throttle pinned by your right foot. The differences between the GT version and the non-GT version of the Virtus come in form of the engine, the transmission, and then there's the design. Now here the design is more classy, more elegant. In fact, this is something that would suit most people's needs. There's also blue element instead of red on all the digital consoles, and there's white ambient light. The brakes on the GT version and the non-GT version of the Virtus are both confidence inspiring and also have a great bite, thereby giving you good amount of feedback at any amount of speed that you're braking. We drove the Volkswagen Virtus for 300 kilometers today, and 300 kilometers is enough for us to understand few key features of the Volkswagen Virtus. Now the first thing that stands out is that Volkswagen is calling this the longest sedan in its segment, 20 mm longer than the Slavia. Now despite that, the ground clearance of 179 mm makes this car feel like you're driving a mid-size SUV than a sedan. Apart from the ground clearance, this car also performs brilliantly at high speeds. Now this car feels planted at triple-digit speeds and in fact inspires confidence of going faster. Now this one thereby is a beautiful amalgamation of both a mid-size sedan and a mid-size SUV paired together to now be named as the Volkswagen Virtus. we will come out with a full review as and when we get this car in our respective cities. Until then, stay tuned to Top Gear India channels, subscribe if you haven't, and like this video and share it with everyone who's interested in the Volkswagen Virtus.